Ever thought about visiting Japan but not sure where to start? Don't worry, I've got your back. Embark yourself on an epic journey where ancient meets modern in the coolest ways. Let's start our 15-day journey. Before coming to Japan, you should buy a JR Pass online in order to follow our route. There are 3 types of JR Pass, for 7, 14, or 21 days, and it's basically an unlimited multi-use transportation ticket that includes all the different types of transport we will use during these days. It looks expensive, I know, but if you buy the tickets individually, it will cost more. Once you have paid for your JR Pass online, you have 90 days to redeem it in Japan, so buy it 1 or 2 months before coming to Japan. Okay, so let's start our trip. Once you arrive at the airport, find the JR office so you can redeem your JR Pass. When you redeem it, they will ask you on which day you want it to start. As our travel route is for 15 days, start your JR Pass on the 2nd day of the trip. If you find a long waiting line, don't worry. There are more offices at the main train stations. To go from Narita Airport to the city center, you have different options. If you are traveling for less than 15 days and have already activated your JR Pass, take the Narita Express because it's included, and in 50 minutes you will be in the center. Otherwise, you can take the Skyliner for 2,570 yen, which takes 40 minutes, or the airport bus called TYO NRT, which costs 1,300 yen and takes around 70 minutes to Tokyo Station. If you have time once you arrive, I recommend going to Akihabara, the neighborhood famous for all the anime, arcades, maid cafes, and an infinite number of places you can only see in Japan. Lose yourself on the streets, enter some buildings, and immerse yourself in the environment. Akihabara becomes more interesting in the evening because all the neon lights bring more life to the streets and reveal the true Akihabara. On the next day, we will go to the Asakusa neighborhood and start by visiting the Senzoji Temple. To get there, I recommend using the subway. Any line that has a J in its name is included in the JR Pass. I suggest going there as early as possible because it becomes very crowded, as it is the most famous and oldest temple in Tokyo. It has no admission fee, and you will enter through the impressive Kaminarimon, the gate built in 941. Take your time to visit it, and afterwards, go to Nakamai Street, which is next to the temple. It is one of the oldest commercial streets in Japan. Afterwards, get closer to the Sumida River by going to Asakusa Street. Here, you will see the famous Asahi Beer Hall, which is one of Japan's most famous beers. The golden sculpture atop it, called Flamme d'Or, is sometimes colloquially referred to as the Golden Turd. Following this, we will take the subway to Ueno Park. This park is the most famous and beautiful one in Tokyo. It is a typical Japanese park with many temples and museums. Go for a walk and discover it by yourself. After that, visit Amayoko Street, famous for its local street food, and have lunch there. Next, we will go to Odaiba Island. It originally consisted of small man-made islands used as forts in the Edo period, but they were later joined to create a larger island and a futuristic new city with extravagant buildings worth visiting. To get there, you have the option of going by boat from Asakusa, enjoying the views of Tokyo from the river. I recommend staying until evening to enjoy the amazing sunset views. Afterwards, if you want to experience the neon nights, you can return to Akihabara or have dinner in Shinjuku. The next day, we will start by going to Harajuku, a district in Shibuya, to begin our morning with a walk in Yoyogi Park. Inside Yoyogi Park, we will visit the Meiji Shrine, a must-see in Tokyo. This Shinto shrine, dedicated to the deified spirits of Emperor Meiji and his wife, was founded in 1920 after Emperor Meiji's death. Take a leisurely walk in the park, visit the Imperial Garden, and then head to Takeshita Street, a very famous commercial street for locals. Even if you don't plan to buy anything, I still recommend strolling through it to experience a typical Japanese commercial street. From there, we will head to Shinjuku, another neighborhood of Tokyo. We'll take the Tokyo Metro, as it's far from our current location. The station where you will arrive is the busiest train station in the world, holding a Guinness World Record for an average of 3.65 million people moving through it each day. In Shinjuku, you must visit the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building viewpoint. It offers one of the best viewpoints to see Tokyo from above, and it's the only one with free entrance. After that, go to Omoide Yokocho, a very beautiful and unique street full of restaurants where you can enjoy a meal. The yakitori is the most famous dish to try there. Once you finish eating, you can take a walk in Shinjuku. I recommend visiting Kabukicho, the red light district of Tokyo. During the day, you won't see anything inappropriate, but it's a curious place to visit. Also, if you are an anime enthusiast, the famous stairs from the film Your Name are here in Shinjuku. They are located next to the Shuga Shrine. If you are not too tired, take the subway to Shibuya to spend the afternoon there. Shibuya is one of the most iconic neighborhoods in Tokyo, and it is most famous for having the world's busiest pedestrian crossing, where around 3,000 people cross at the same time. It is a must-see. And if you want to have the best views, I recommend going to the Starbucks that's there on the first floor, and you will see it perfectly. Close to the Shibuya crossing, there's also a very interesting thing, the statue of Hachiko, the most famous dog in Japan. This dog was from a Japanese professor, and when he died, Hachiko stayed 9 years waiting for his owner to come back in front of the Shibuya station. This story became so famous that there's even a film about it. After that, take a walk in Shibuya, where you will experience a mix between the new skyscrapers and the old Japan, finding even small temples among the skyscrapers. Once you feel tired, find a place to eat dinner and then head back to sleep. On the next day, we will use our JR pass for a day trip to Kamakura. We will wake up early and take the Yokosuka train line. It has several stops in Tokyo, so take the nearest from your hotel. The travel time is around 1 hour. Kamakura was once the political center of the country, but now it's a tourist city packed with a lot of historical sites, including temples, shrines, and ancient streets. The city offers a spectacular change of scenery from Tokyo, allowing you to leave the bustle of the big city behind and immerse yourself in the history and nature of its temples and sanctuaries. Once you arrive at the station, go for a walk on Komachi Street. It's located next to the station, and it's a shotengai, a Japanese term used for typical Japanese shopping streets. These streets are often pedestrian and covered, offering a very local atmosphere. At the end of this street, we will find the Tsurugaoka Hachimangu Sanctuary, which is a must-see in Kamakura. If you are visiting during the cherry blossom season in spring, be sure to walk along Wakamiya Oji Street, where you will see many flowering sakura trees. Visit the sanctuary, which is one of the oldest and most important from Kamakura. It is dedicated to Hachiman, the god of war and the tutelary deity of the samurai. After you finish your visit, we will head to the Hazedera Temple. It's almost a 40-minute walk, so I recommend taking public transport. As we arrive, you will see a lot of Jizo statues, small statues of monks, some of them wearing wool hats. Jizo are guardian deities of children and the deceased, and the ones at this temple are probably the most famous in Japan. Visit the temple and enjoy a relaxing walk around it. Afterward, head to the Kamakura Great Buddha, located next to the temple, just an 8-minute walk away. Inside the Kotoku-in temple, you will find the Buddha, probably the most famous attraction in Kamakura. After finishing the visit, we will go to lunch. Kamakura is famous for shirasu, which are very small fish usually served with rice, and here is the best place to try it. You can find it raw or boiled. I've tried both, and I definitely recommend it raw. It has way more flavor. Another famous dish from Kamakura is kamaboko, a fish cake similar to surimi but renowned in this region. After lunch, visit Hokokuji Temple, famous for its bamboo forest surrounding it. It's spectacular and very serene. Finally, take a train back to Tokyo from Kamakura Station and relax, because the next day we have another day trip planned. Today, we are going to Nikko. We will also use our JR pass. Take the JR Tohoku Shinkansen from Tokyo or Ueno Station to Utsunomiya Station, then transfer to the JR Nikko line. It's a 1 hour and 40-minute trip. In Nikko, we have 3 main attractions to see: the Futarasan Shrine, the Shinkyo Bridge, and the Toshogu Shrine. All of them are located next to each other, so it's an easy visit. From the station, you can walk to the Shinkyo Bridge. It's a 20-minute walk, and you will get a sense of Nikko's ambiance. Alternatively, you can always take a bus. This bridge dates back to 1636 and is famous for being considered one of the top 3 most beautiful bridges in Japan. After you take your pictures, we will walk to the Futarasan Sanctuary, a 10-minute walk that's impressive. You will be completely surrounded by nature. The sanctuary was built in the year 782 and closes at 4 p.m. It is dedicated to the 3 kami, or sacred mountains of Nikko: Mount Taro, Mount Nyoho, and Mount Nantai. The complex is gigantic, with many gardens and impressive giant trees. From inside the complex, you can access the Toshogu Shrine, and the path that connects both shrines is spectacular, featuring dozens of large ancient trees and huge traditional stone lamps. When you're tired of visiting, take the train back to Tokyo. The next day, we will go to Takayama and spend the night there. To get from Tokyo to Takayama, we will use our JR Pass. First, take the Tokaido Sanyo Shinkansen bullet train to Nagoya, and then the Hara Limited Express to Takayama Station. The travel time will be around 4.5 hours. The first train departs at 6 a.m., and I recommend waking up early because we will only have 1 day to visit Takayama. Takayama is famous for its spectacular old town, filled with houses from the Edo period whose architecture has barely changed to this day. In addition, the food in Takayama is excellent, making it a perfect addition to your route through Japan. The old town isn't particularly large, so I recommend exploring everything on foot. The most important experience is walking through the streets, as it will transport you back to the Edo era. Many of these houses have been transformed into art galleries, museums, or even coffee shops. I suggest visiting either the Kusakabe family house or the Yoshijima family house in order to see how it was from the inside. During your walk, you can also visit the Hida Kokubunji Temple, or Takayama Jinya, the former government office. If you are interested in museums, you will also find plenty related to Japanese history. In terms of food, Takayama is famous for 2 things: sake and Wagyu beef. In my opinion, you must try both. There are plenty of sake sellers where you can find tastings of their sake. The Wagyu from this region is called Hida, similar to how the Wagyu from Kobe is called Kobe. These 2 are the most famous types of Wagyu in Japan, so be sure to try the Hida variety. You can find it prepared in any form you can imagine, as nigiri, inside fritters, or in yakiniku, for example. From here, you have 2 options: either go to Shirakawa-go the next day, or use this extra day in Kyoto or Osaka. Shirakawa-go is just 1 hour away by bus from Takayama, making it a perfect day trip option. This small rural village is renowned for its Gashozukuri-style houses, distinguished by their traditional triangular thatched roofs, and it's designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. However, in my opinion, it might be better to spend that day in Kyoto or Osaka, but ultimately the choice is yours. If you're craving more nature on this trip, then go for it. In my case, I would go directly to Kanazawa. We will once again use our JR Pass, taking a train to Toyama and then another one to Kanazawa. The travel time will be around 2 hours. Try to secure a window seat on the first train because the view is breathtaking. Kanazawa held significant historical importance in the past, as it was home to one of the most prominent feudal families of the Tokugawa period, the Maeda clan. In this city, we will explore the geisha neighborhood, where they used to perform, the samurai neighborhood, and even have the opportunity to see a ninja temple. When you arrive, go to your hotel and check in. After that, let's head to the Omicho market. It's a good place to visit because it's a local market that is frequented by locals. I would also recommend eating there. They offer sushi, sashimi, or oysters at affordable prices and very fresh. Kanazawa is renowned for the quality of its seafood, making it an excellent destination for sushi. After lunch, we will visit the Kenrokuin Garden, considered one of the 3 great gardens of Japan. Next to these gardens is the Kanazawa Castle, so take some time to appreciate the castle from the outside. You can also visit the interior, but be aware that you will only see a new wooden structure after the restoration. Once you are done visiting, go to the Higashi-Chaya district, which is one of the 2 geisha neighborhoods. Go for a walk and experience it both during daylight and at night. In the sunlight, all the stores and tea shops are open, and at sunset, you'll witness how the atmosphere changes as the streetlights begin to illuminate the area. Also, make sure to visit the Kazamachi-Chaya district, the other geisha neighborhood. Both are located next to each other. You just need to cross the river. I recommend dining there as well. Next day, start by going to the Nagamachi Samurai district and take a stroll through a well-preserved, authentic samurai district. You can even enter some of the original houses. After that, you can visit the Myoryuji Temple, which is renowned for its trapdoors, hidden rooms, secret passageways, and maze-like stairwells. These features have earned it the nickname Ninja Temple, although the building has no connection to ninjas at all. There is an entrance fee of 1,200 yen. Alternatively, you could visit the Kanazawa Yasue Gold Leaf Museum. Kanazawa produces almost 100% of Japan's gold leaf products. Here, you can learn about the history and process of making it, including a demonstration. The entrance fee is 310 yen. Once you finish all your visits, take the Thunderbird Limited Express train to Kyoto. It's included in the JR Pass, and the trip will take around 2 hours and 15 minutes. On the next day, I recommend waking up very early because we will be visiting the Fushimi Inari Shrine, which tends to get very crowded. I suggest arriving there by 6:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. It is one of the most popular places to visit in Kyoto, and it has more than 32,000 torii gates. The sanctuary is dedicated to the Inari spirit, which was seen as the patron saint of business. Therefore, every torii gate in the shrine has been donated by Japanese businessmen. Merchants and artisans would offer worship to Inari in hopes of gaining wealth in their businesses, which is why they donated numerous torii gates that now contribute to the panoramic view of the temple. To go across the entire complex, you will need 1 hour and a half. From here, we will go to the Kiyomizudera Temple, the most visited temple in Kyoto. It will take around 30 minutes to get there by public transport. This UNESCO World Heritage Site offers truly breathtaking vistas of the city and its surroundings. The temple's main hall is supported by wooden pillars and constructed without the use of nails. It extends over the hillside, offering visitors a stunning panorama of cherry and maple trees below. The name Kiyomizudera literally means pure water, so one of the temple's most iconic features is the Otowa waterfall. Here, visitors can drink from 3 separate streams using long-handled cups. Each stream is said to bestow a different blessing: longevity, success in school, or a fortunate love life. But drinking from all 3 is considered greedy, according to local tradition. From there, take a walk through the Higashiyama neighborhood, which begins at the end of the temple. Walking through Higashiyama feels like stepping back in time, with narrow cobblestone streets lined with traditional matcha houses, quaint shops, and tea houses. This area is particularly famous for its preserved atmosphere, offering visitors a glimpse into Japan's past. If you spot a good restaurant, it's a perfect time for lunch. From here, we'll head to the Osaka Pagoda, just a 10-minute walk away, and explore the neighborhood. Next to it, there's the Maruyama Park, which is worth a quick visit. To conclude our day, there are nearby places worth visiting. The Chionin Temple, famous for the stairs featured in The Last Samurai film, the Okazaki Canal, and the Heian Jingu Sanctuary. The rest of the must-see attractions in Kyoto are further away and require a significant amount of time. Therefore, for the remainder of the day, you can explore more streets in this area or buy some souvenirs. The next day, we will explore the Kinukake no Michi Road, translated as the Path of the Silk Cascades. This road connects 3 temples of great spiritual importance, and I recommend arriving when the temples open at 9 a.m. to avoid overcrowding by tourists. This road starts at the Kinkakuji Temple, known as the Temple of the Golden Pavilion, which is one of the most famous Zen Buddhist temples in Japan. It is completely covered in gold leaf and surrounded by a lake. After visiting Kinkakuji, we will proceed to the Ryoanji Temple, and finally, we will complete the journey with a visit to the Ninnaji Temple. Once you finish exploring the road, take the Randen tram, which will take you to Arashiyama. The nature and landscapes in Arashiyama are extraordinary, and the most breathtaking spot is the bamboo forest, so we will begin by heading there. Take a walk through this stunning forest, and then proceed to the Tenryuji Temple afterward. This temple is a must-visit for its gardens and landscapes, especially during autumn when you can witness the incredible change in the colors of the trees. If you're not tired, I also recommend visiting the Saga Toriyamoto Traditional Buildings Preservation Area. Here, you'll encounter traditional Japanese houses in an idyllic environment with almost no tourists. The following day, to take a break from Kyoto, we'll make a day trip to Nara, the city famous for having deers everywhere. To get there, we'll depart from Kyoto Station and board the JR Nara line towards JR Nara Station. The journey will take around 45 minutes. The main attraction in Nara is the Nara Deer Park, a large park with over 1,200 deer roaming freely. You can buy some cookies to feed them, as it's one of the most typical activities to do there. I recommend spending time walking in the park with the deers. The deers are considered messengers of the gods according to Shintoism, and for this reason, they are protected. When you're tired of playing with the deers, you can also visit the Todaiji Temple, the Kasuga Taisha Shrine, or take a walk around the commercial district of Naramachi. Spend the whole day visiting Nara and come back to Kyoto in the afternoon to have a delightful dinner there. For our final day in Kyoto, we will be exploring the northern part of the city, starting with the Philosopher's Walk. This route got its name from the Japanese philosopher and professor Nishida Kitaro, who used to meditate in this area on his way to Kyoto University. It's a picturesque path following a canal, surrounded by numerous cherry trees. It starts at the Ginkakuji Temple and is a 40-minute walk that leads to 2 temples, the Eikando and Nanzenji temples. If you're interested, you can visit both of them, but I strongly recommend visiting the Eikando Temple because of the trees and nature surrounding it. Once you've finished your meditation along the Philosopher's Walk, take the subway from Keeg Station and head to the Nishiki Market. In this market, the quality of the food is supreme, so I would suggest having lunch here. I recommend trying the crab, but everything is good. After lunch, the only thing left to visit is the famous geisha neighborhoods of Kyoto. Head to Pontocho Alley, just a 10-minute walk from the market. It's a narrow street, nothing more, but it's very charming and quick to visit. From there, cross the river, and you'll find yourself in Miyagawacho, another of the geisha neighborhoods. This one is very quiet, and it's common to see actual geishas and maikos walking around the streets. Finally, go to Gion, which is the most famous one of the neighborhoods. Walk around and find Hanamikoji Street, as is the most famous and beautiful one. Here, our stay in Kyoto comes to an end. The next day, as we wake up, we'll take the Shinkansen bullet train, included in our JR pass, and in just 15 minutes, we'll be in Osaka. In Osaka, we will start by visiting the Umeda Sky Building. This building has 40 floors and offers a 360-degree view of Osaka that you must experience. The building is very famous for its floating escalators, which are inside suspended glass tubes connecting both towers of the building to a platform where the observatory is located. It's an experience you must have, and the entrance fee is 1,500 yen. After this visit, take the Osaka Loop Line and go to Osaka Castle. It's a 20-minute trip. This is the only castle we will visit in Osaka, but it's the main one. I don't recommend visiting the inside, but the gardens around it and the castle from the outside are worth seeing, and even more so if you come during the blossom season. From here, head to the Shinsekai neighborhood for lunch. It's a famous, retro-futuristic area with one of Osaka's most iconic towers, the Tsutenkaku. I recommend strolling through the streets as they offer a different vibe from what we've seen before. There are plenty of restaurants here, and their specialty is kushikatsu. Afterwards, I recommend walking until you reach the Dotonbori neighborhood. I highly recommend walking because you will pass through the Namba neighborhood to get there, and that's also a must-see. This is the real Osaka. Here, you will see a lot of people on the streets, a lot of street food, and many stores. If you can find the Shinsaibashi Suji galleries as you walk, I recommend taking a look inside. During your walk, you must try the takoyaki, one of the most famous dishes from Osaka. These are balls made of wheat flour-based batter cooked in a special molded pan and filled with diced octopus. The balls are brushed with takoyaki sauce and mayonnaise, then sprinkled with dried bonito. Also, when you arrive in Dotonbori, it's a good idea to buy a Rikuro Ojisan cheesecake, the famous, fluffy Japanese cheesecake. Once in Dotonbori, you will see a canal. Go to the Ebisubashi Bridge, and you will see one of the most iconic things in Osaka, the Glico sign. Glico is a Japanese candy company whose sign has become the icon of Osaka. Discover all the streets and find a good izakaya to try the famous okonomiyaki, the main dish of Osaka. An izakaya is a typical Japanese bar that you must visit at least once during your trip. Okonomiyaki, often called the Japanese pizza, is made with shredded cabbage, egg, and various toppings, including meat or seafood, and served with sauce and mayo. It's much better than it sounds, trust me. For the last day of your visit, I have two options for you. Either taking a JR train to Hakone, a mountainous city known for its hot spring resorts, where you can relax and experience the Japanese onsen, or returning directly to Tokyo. If you decide to return to Tokyo, we've already visited all the must-see attractions during the first few days, so I would suggest visiting the Team Lab Borderless Museum. It offers an incredible immersive experience that you must try at least once in your life. If you plan to visit, make sure to buy your tickets in advance, as they will likely sell out otherwise. And here, our 15-day journey comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any doubts, feel free to comment below. See you in the next one.